the main conclusion for me is that I'm able to improve my vocabulary, and I can start sounding in a more native speaker's manner, not by learning tones of new words or expressions, but by just starting using quite easy expressions, which are absolutely clear to me, but which I haven't used before for some reasons. And the second kind of conclusion is that after we have completed this job, now I really have this sense of accomplishment that you started the session from, and so I'm absolutely pleased with this process and absolutely satisfied. And it wasn't very hard, but on the other hand, I put some effort into this process, because the first attempt of listening seemed to me as a kind of a catastrophe, as I caught only the context. I understood that they were discussing the single, but I didn't catch the details. But after we have worked, surely it became much more clear. So this vocabulary work was awesome. So for me, it was real pleasure, and I do hope that I will start using. And for me, it was really useful when we started discussing the context, because for me, it's I think the most frequent problem, because I don't feel the context all the time. I can feel the context only, I don't know, I can use the phrase only in one context and it works, but I feel doubts, or I might be confused about using the same phrase in another context. And when we started discussing it, it was great.
Don't trust your feeling and your intuition at this stage. You're saying, I don't feel the context. That's very natural, because you haven't seen enough examples. The feeling of context comes from confidence, and confidence comes from a lot of experience. Once you have seen it enough times, only then you can start feeling the language. If you have never seen it before, it's hard to feel what's right. You need to use a lot of examples. So if you have a feeling that I'm not sure, always check it out. Sergey, how would you summarize the session for yourself?
I got the structure, what I need to do. And this was really clear, and now it's clear in my mind. And I think this make my further exercising better and more productive.
Yeah.
And I like the way how you did this. You tell us what to do, then you show us how to do, and then you force us what to do.
No, I don't. So, and then now you can do it yourself.
Oh, for sure. I know this is these steps which are always working.
Okay, good. But I don't force you to do anything. I hope you do it voluntarily, and I hope you chose to be here today voluntarily, not because I forced you to come. Okay, good. Yulia, do you want to summarize?
Yes, thank you very much. It was very useful for me, because before I tried to transcribe when I saw the video, and this was very difficult. And now I understand that I can listen or see the video and try to put my attention on words which I know.
Yes.
Because before I tried to understand words which I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Just reverse it. Absolutely. Very good. Good. Pavel, how about your summary? How would you summarize it?
Well, this live communication is very useful for me in that course. It's not only exercises on the side, but this one. Only my mind is turning off after an hour of listening English words. But I think in the future it will be better understanding.
It's okay. You can go and grab a cup of coffee. We will wait. If you feel that it's a little bit too much, that's fine. That's fine. Thank you very much for sharing. Kusha, how would you summarize it for yourself?
Okay. We have learned to recognize the words or phrases that we already know or have heard before. but we don't really use. And to when you spend some time like using English or such services, you memorize them like forever, I think.
Yeah. Can I give some tip to you? Because I know you're working on spontaneous conversations, so that it feels easier. We all have this. We all say filler words or we make filler sounds. With you, surprisingly, you make almost no filler words, which I'm guilty of, for example. But you make these filler sounds and they sound like you're looking for words and you don't know what to say. A very simple practice that you can try, and everybody, as soon as you find yourself going like, just stop. Stop and say nothing for 2 seconds. If it's easier, you can even count to 3. As soon as you notice yourself going there, start counting to 3 inside. And trust me, it's very powerful because people will wait 3 seconds. The world will not collapse. And you will find the words that you're looking for and you will sound more confident.
I'll try.
And that requires also listening to yourself. We're not only listening to native speakers, we're learning to hear what we actually say and how we sound. Diana, how was the session for you?
The most important thing for me today is that if you watch something and choose the phrase you like, it would be the best for you to immediately put it in some context in your personal life. And if you do that, you will memorize it better.
Yeah, and don't think about it, like don't give yourself a task. Oh, I need to put it in some context. No, simply ask yourself, why did I pick this phrase? Why did it get my attention? You don't need to artificially or create some artificial context for it. It should be always your context. And it already exists because you picked it yourself.
Yeah, so just, don't use phrase it to look some context. Use a context in your life instead. I noticed that I lose many prepositions when I hear something, and it's really important to check it more.
Phrase it is helpful if you don't understand the context entirely. Then phrase it helps to understand how native speakers use this or that word combination. If you have doubts, you can use that.
Thank you for this session. It was absolutely a new experience for me. It was not really easy for me. And I appreciate that for this experience, live speaking. And I got very interesting idea to pay attention at words and phrase, and I liked very much this phrase which we discussed, and I hope that it will be easier to use these phrases in the future.